Hi, everybody. My name is Ryan today, and we are here talking about the iTeracare device and how we can utilize it to not only help ourselves, but help our family members. And today, specifically, talking about our pets, those loved ones, those parts of our family that need help at times too. So I'm here with Dr. Gus Brooks. Dr. Gus Brooks, pleasure to see you.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
I think we're all doing great. We're excited to be here and to hear a story about Cowboy and such. I've got some amazing pictures to share. But first, before I show those pictures, Dr. Brooks, tell me what happened with Cowboy. What's the story here? What happened?
Okay. Well, I'm a veterinarian. I've been practicing 31 years, so I've kind of seen a little bit of everything. And last year, we noticed on our dog Cowboy, on his outer lip on his upper left side, he started a growth. And, I started at first, I just kind of started watching it because he's a young dog, he's under 2. So the worst case scenario would be something like squamous cell carcinoma when it's in the oral area. And I figured he was really too young for that, but you still have to consider it. And the best case scenario would have been trauma, right? That he hurt it on something, bit or something like that. Well, as time went by, it started to grow bigger and bigger and get worse and worse. So at this point, I kind of considered it to be like a fibroma or a cyst. Okay. So, what happened was my girlfriend Gina says, at this point, because it was starting to get worse, she said, why don't we start wanding it? And sure, let's give it a go. So we kind of half-heartedly started doing that. We really weren't consistent with it. And during this process, it actually seemed to get worse. It became ulcerative and got large. And you'll see that in the pictures as it got worse. So then I said, okay, forget it. This is getting worse. I'm going to schedule him for surgery. And I was going to have to reconstruct his lip. If you look at it, because it's right on the commissure, it would mess with the whole oral mucocutaneous junction. So she said, you know what? We're not doing this right. Give me a week. And I said, fine. So she started religiously wanding it on what setting? The low 2?
Setting 2, low cool.
Setting 2, low cool, because it's in his face and you can't have that hot air blowing in his face and it's hard enough to hold him. So we started doing it and she started religiously doing it. And after a week, it started to look better. After 2 weeks, I was amazed at how much it was going down. And right now I'm going to show you his lip right here. If I can get that, hang on.
Can't see anything.
You can't see anything. Right. And you'll see that on the pictures. And it's just, he totally alleviated surgery. It didn't take nearly as long as we still weren't doing it. We were trying to do it twice a day for 5 minutes. And certain days we'd get it and other days we weren't because he wasn't very tolerant. But you can tell there's just nothing there now. He looks perfect. Oh. And totally alleviated surgery and it is totally gone. And I would say that beginning to end, 4 weeks at the most.
Not even 3 weeks.
I don't think, yeah, she said not even 3 weeks. And it was amazing at how, I think that when we were doing it haphazardly, it actually was doing something, but it was making it active. And that's why it probably started to get a little worse. But then as we stepped it up, that's when the magic happened and it started going away. So it was, and I've never seen anything. I told her, I said, I always had to cut these out. And this was the first one, didn't have to. So it was quite amazing.
What a beautiful story. I'm so happy to see him there with you all, happy and vibrant and looking good, and no sutures, no scars.
Nothing. Totally non-invasive procedure. He just holding him and blowing it in a position of like towards this way, towards the front, so it wouldn't dry out his eyes, right? And not be directly in his nose. So if you're working with your animals, you have to be cognizant of how they're going to react to it. And he's a real tolerant little guy, but we still had to hold him in place and do that so it wasn't bothering him. It was nothing short of amazing how quickly that went away, and we didn't have to do any surgery or anything.
I'm going to go ahead and share these photos now. I want to show these photos. Okay, so there he is afterwards. So walk me through some of this. This seems to be the worst here.
Yeah, I mean, see, people are going to, look at that. That's when I was just kind of like, it was outgrowing its blood supply. And what happens when you have tumors, okay, is they're non-lattice formation. Like your body, when it grows things, it grows it in a lattice format that is organized with blood, with arterial blood going to it, venous blood coming away, and nervous innervation. When you have tumors and they grow, basically haphazardly, they don't grow in a lattice network. So as a result, they outgrow their blood supply because there's no organization to the tissue. That's why it just keeps growing. And that's what is one of the reasons why it's deemed cancerous, is because there's no organization. There's no negative feedback. There's no on or off. It's just always on. It just keeps growing. So when it got to that level, I told Gene, I said, listen, we're going to have to do surgery, or I'm going to have a difficult time getting that out without him having some malformation to his face. And she said, well, let's just really try to do this. And I okay, we don't have much to, and I said, but if it keeps getting worse, we're going to have to stop, because like we had done it haphazardly, it was getting worse. Well, she started doing it and it hit a plateau, and you can see with the pictures that all of a sudden it starts getting better dramatically, like very quickly. And then it just keeps shrinking down. And I kept telling her, because she's going, see, it's working. I said, okay, but wait a minute. It has to totally disappear before I give it the thumbs up and say it worked. And sure enough, it's totally disappeared. And it's been gone for months. Just another side note is we do iTeracare all the water that we give all of our animals and ourselves that we drink. So that's another thing we do is we, before we put it in their dish, we do that. We do wand the water.
Talk to me about that process. What do you do to wand the water?
Well, so my girlfriend Gina is the one who does it. So I don't want to take credit for that, but she just puts it in a container and stands and holds the wand directly down onto it and wands it for a good minute.
So that's all it takes, just a minute.
Yeah, and then it goes directly into their dish, and then the water for ourselves, she wands that too. So we only drink wanded water.
That's a beautiful thing. What a beautiful family, and I am so happy for you, and I'm happy for Cowboy. Congratulations, Cowboy. I'm glad that you didn't have to go underneath the knife, no anesthesia, none of that, just healthy, happy puppers. I'm so happy for you.
Well, if you think of the cost, like obviously he gets it done, anything he needs done, I do it, and it's not free, right? But it's still like it's for free, right? Because I don't charge myself. But the cost to remove that could have easily been $1,000 to $1,500, in addition to the pain and suffering he'd have to go through. And so, when I say suffering, it's, he'd go through some pain. It would be necessary, but he'd go through that.
What would that healing process look like?
Antibiotics for at least a week. He'd be on pain med for at least a week. He would have to wear an e-collar, a cone around his head, so he doesn't scratch out the sutures. The sutures would be dissolving, so we wouldn't have to do anything there. But it would be at least a 2-week period of time for that to heal. And he'd have to wear a cone for 2 weeks. That can be a nightmare, for these guys. It's necessary, but it's, it is not fun for them. So it's a major disruption to your life and their life. It's, $1,000 to $1,500. And the day of the surgery, you're going to worry like anything. When he's at my hospital, you're going to worry about him. And then, and he's going to miss you. And, it's an ordeal for him. And this was very minor disruption of his day to be wanded for 5 minutes, because we couldn't do it much longer than that, once or twice a day. And the key is consistency. Just keep doing it every day. And you may go through a little bump in the road, but if you stay with it, it will prevail and it'll take care of the issue.
And so for a period of a few weeks, to be able just to be consistent about it, and to do that, you saved yourself $1,000 to $1,500. You saved the heartache and the trauma of the antibiotics and the hardness on his system, the painkillers that he'd have to go on and off of, and not to mention the heartache and disruption to your lives. And instead you have this. What a blessing. What a wonderful way, a testament to the self-care that comes from drinking the water, using the wand just a little bit on a regular basis. I'm so excited to hear more stories coming out of this, the iTeracare challenge. It's really not much of a challenge to do something that feels good. And any other little last minute thoughts that you'd like to share about Cowboy and his story, or how the iTeracare device has helped you in your life so far?
Sure. With Cowboy, that's, that the wanting of the water, that's the main thing. And actually, when my girlfriend wands herself, she does a whole full body thing. He sits right next to her and he sits there and lets her wand him his whole body, so he doesn't mind it. Like on his body, he doesn't mind it. In their face, it's a little hard to have that, the wind blowing in his face, but he doesn't mind it on his body. I have an issue with my shoulder that most people have. If you think about the earth going around, rotating around the sun, you know what I'm talking about in the shoulder. And the discomfort can be unbelievable sometimes. And when I have that issue, I'll come and watch TV, turn up the TV loud and turn it on high heat, high setting, and just sit there and wand my shoulder. And the discomfort, it's amazing how quickly it goes away. And don't have issues again until you kind of tweak it again. So it's very, very effective, it works very quickly, which is, I think, the key. You don't have to sit there. You don't wait days for it to work, and things like that. Headaches is another thing that occasionally I get headaches, and my girlfriend Gina will wand the back of my head, and within, it seems like 5 to 15 minutes, it's gone, doing nothing else. And it stays away, which is great, those are the things personally, I guess, that I get out of it right now, I'm seeing results. Because my whole thing is on this kind of stuff, because of what I do for a living, I can't push something that is questionable. Just like what I do at work, I only do things that work, that are proven. And I always tell her, if it works for me, if it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work. So if it doesn't work on me, I can't believe in it. And this totally works for me. It worked for our dog. So this is the real deal. This is something that I've already started to bringing up with people in my practice, because of, especially people relate easier with me when it comes to the animal stuff, obviously. So when I've started explaining what happened with my own personal dog with it, they're very interested. So it's, and the personal stuff is kind of a side note, but I push it more for the animals.
Dr. Brooks, it sounds like personal care, pet care, maintenance care, acute care. Sounds like it's become part of your lifestyle, part of your daily life.
Oh, absolutely. And it's easy to integrate into your life. It's no big deal.
You've given us a lot to work with and a lot to consider and a lot of inspiration. So thank you for your work, and thank you, Gina, for your diligence and staying committed to staying the course, doing it consistently, even in the midst of a healing crisis. For those of you who aren't familiar, that's what happened with Cowboy. It's very common that in the healing process, sometimes symptoms can get worse as a part of the healing process. Just like when we get sick, we get a fever and it starts to feel worse, but that's our body going through that healing process so we can do it. And so thank you for staying consistent and staying true to that. And obviously getting the result and the benefit from it. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me on and let me tell my story. I appreciate it. And Gina says thank you and goodbye. Okay.